The federal Auditor General says the government's program to help small businesses during the pandemic suffered from a lack of oversight. It's just one of the issues Karen Hogan weighed in on in her latest reports. She also looked at defense procurement contracts and programs to help seniors. The CBC's Karina Roman has been going over the reports and joins us live from Ottawa. So Karina, let's start with CBA. People may remember it was an emergency loan program implemented during the pandemic for small businesses. What did Hogan find?
Well, she found that thumbs up on getting money, lots of money, out the door quickly to over 900,000 small businesses. In fact, I believe 49 billion, but not so great financial controls. And she said that part of the problem is that it was a Crown Corporation, EDC, that was tasked with doing this program, but they gave a lot of control, or almost all the control, to a sole source contractor, Accenture, that actually administered the program. And so there wasn't oversight by EDC in any real way, or pushback on perhaps poor management decisions. And finance department also didn't have any oversight of the EDC. So there was really sort of this big void where Accenture was able to kind of do whatever it wanted to do and spend money how it thought best when it was a contractor as opposed to in-house. Have a listen to what Hogan had to say about that.
In the end, there's this accountability void, whether it be the Department of Finance or Global Affairs or EDC. And when you have an accountability void, there's people who aren't keeping eyes on the dollars anymore. There is bad management decisions that go unchallenged, and ultimately no spending limit put on a big program.
Now, 91% of eligible businesses received the money, that the loans, that they sought after, but about $3.5 billion went to businesses that actually should not have received the loans, that were ineligible. And Hogan says she's quite concerned that the government has only partially agreed with her recommendation in her report to go after that money. And certainly that was a concern in question period as well, with Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives, not happy to hear that. The government talks about this being a critical lifeline program. Hello, we designed it and rolled it out during a global pandemic. But Karen Hogan says you still expect some basic due diligence when creating these programs, even if you're in a national emergency or a global emergency of that sort.
Okay, and so what else stands out in here, Karina?
So Canada has an industrial and technological benefits policy. And that's a policy that, so in defense procurement, contractors bid on contracts, and if they win it, they have to also put towards the Canadian economy the equal amount of whatever the value of the contract is. And this is to build up a domestic industrial capacity when it comes to defense, and skill transfer in terms of jobs, so that it's not just expertise elsewhere that creates what we need to keep our military equipped. But Karen Hogan found that this program was applied inconsistently, that contract obligations were not accurately tracked. It's possible that, in fact, this policy and the way it was administered drives not only the cost of procurement up, but also delays procurement, something that, of course, Canada has long had a problem with. Considering the political climate that, there's a lot of pressure on the government to spend more money on defense and do it more quickly, this is definitely a relevant report. Also, she did a report on seniors, and the core policy in terms of benefits for seniors is the Old Age Security Program. And it's a huge budget item. So in 2025, the government will spend $88 billion on OAS. In 2045, it'll move up to 181 plus billion. And that's because of both inflation, but also demographic changing with the aging demographics. Now, the government, she says, isn't even measuring whether OAS is meeting the needs of seniors. In fact, they don't actually even know what the needs of seniors are. And in terms of metrics, aren't necessarily even using the right metrics, because the OAS is indexed to inflation, but that might not actually be the way to go, Karen Hogan says. Have a listen.
The analysis done by the government was very weak about whether or not seniors are experiencing a different rate of inflation than what's reflected in the Consumer Price Index, because it represents the average household. And we think a better analysis needs to be done in order to understand if this income support program, which is one of the largest programs for the federal government, is actually meeting the financial needs of seniors.
Now, this also came up in question period because, of course, seniors, a very relevant political topic right now, whether we're talking about the Bloc Québécois demands for a top-up for younger seniors, which still has not progressed the way they would like. In fact, it's not progressing. Or, you know, the NDP's demands that if they're going to do these $250 rebate checks in the spring, that for that to get passed, it would have to incorporate retired seniors and not just working seniors.
Okay, Karina, thank you. The CBC's Karina Roman in Ottawa.